so don't have to report to Prestbury. But if you would, please, pick out your cell phone, grab this card, scan the QR code and make a donation, okay? It's the only way, unfortunately, elections get won. So we need your help. We didn't want to charge anybody coming in here because we felt like it was important for you to get to know and meet Scott Gryder. He's a hell of a guy. So with that, I'm going to introduce Scott Gryder.
Thank you, Chris. Always a tough act to follow. And I need to recognize a couple of people before I get talking too much. Is Judge Susan Clancy Bowles still here?
No.
All right. Be sure you vote for her. That's an important race coming up for appellate. Representative David Welter came. He had to leave. My circuit clerk and former board colleague Matt Prochaska, representative back there. Sugar Grove Township Highway Commissioner somewhere. As well. And then I need a couple of people, if you would come up here and join me, including Chris. Scott and Michelle Boris,
Can you hear him? Or do you need a mic?
Let's give him the mic.
I'd like to have Scott and Scott come on up for a second. Chris, don't go too far. Is Arnie Schrammel here? Arnie, can you pop up here for a second too? And Teresa Childress, where did you go? Don't hide back there, I can see you. I got something for each of you because I am grateful for this crowd that you guys turned out here. You do an amazing job and have done an amazing job, and I appreciate all you've done. You know, not just for me here today, but all you've done for our community as well. All of these people have done a tremendous thing for Sugar Grove and Aurora and Kane County over the years. So thank you guys. I'm eternally grateful. So I have just a little something for you. And Chris, you got the whiskey and stuff, right? Thank you.
Hey, Mike, get your ass up here.
I don't think you heard me, Mike.
Mike? Yeah. What?
Well, no, I didn't.
Mike Douglas.
Yeah.
You don't
Give
get
me a bill.
Oh, I just put aside.
Thank you.
Chris would do it.
So thank you again to everybody for coming out tonight. I'm Scott Gryder, and I'd like to ask for your vote for the 14th Congressional District on June 28th. It's coming up here 55 days from today. A little bit about me. I know a lot of you, but I see a lot of new faces in here too, which is outstanding. So thank you, Christopher, for that. I'm currently the Campbell County Board Chairman. I have been since 2016. I've been on the board for almost 10 years now. And being the board chair, I was front and center for a lot of conversations during the pandemic and over the last couple of years. And a lot of things that I saw happening at the local level, all of you were watching unfold both locally and nationally. And it really, frankly, pissed me off. A lot of the stuff that I was seeing, nationwide and locally. One example, I've talked to a couple of police officers that are here today, and I was in the Emergency Operations Center back in the summer of the riots where they were happening all over the place in Kendall County. And a lot of people think, oh, Kendall County, what was happening out there? Well, it was very close to Aurora, and there were things that were happening in Aurora, as some of you remember. And we had officers and deputies that responded. We sent an MRAP up there, and watching. My sheriff isn't here today. Usually he's here when I tell the story, but watching him in action. He's a guy that we can joke around with and we like, and go golfing and have a good time. But when he's on, he is on, and there was no messing around that night in that room. And we had one of those things that I never thought that I would see happen. As chairman of the county board, I'm also head of the emergency management, and I delegated to a paid official, thankfully, that handles that. But nonetheless, it still ultimately is our responsibility. And we had a plan to shut down Kendall County that night because they were concerned, that they were going to push, these riders were going to push down Ogden Avenue and come out 34 to potentially, to Oswego and other places. We didn't know, and that was just the issues. We didn't know. And there was silence, from our federal and our state officials on this, and it ticked me off. And on top of that, at the county board, we had these mask mandates that were going on, and we had the essential workers, that were happening. And the one I think about all the time, there's two different small businesses in particular that popped up. One was a furniture store, the other one is a shoe store, and they weren't considered essential. And yet, Target and Walmart and some of those others were considered essential, selling the same exact things. But you could go in there and somehow that was safer. I was talking to somebody earlier today about who mentioned having a church service potentially at Target, because that would have been where you could do it. You could go to church, but you could do it in aisle 7, So there was a lot of unfairness that was going on. And so you see that, and I see Lauren Underwood, silent on all of this, and looking around it, and that was just the tip of the iceberg. And then you had things like the Afghanistan withdrawal. We had 20 years where that we were there. We're fighting terrorism. We have so many in Kendall County in particular. We worked really hard to recognize our veterans and salute our veterans. And so many of these guys, men and women, have come back. And to see the way that ended was wrong. There's leadership. We had to end it at some point, but when things are failing as badly as it was, you pivot. And as a leader, you have to be able to do that. And once again, that was something that Lauren Underwood was silent on. So all these factors combined with the fact that 20 years ago, I got bit by the bug as an intern out in DC to serve the public, and I've been doing that ever since. So I'm going to bring a pro-freedom, pro-family, pro-business, pro-Second Amendment agenda to Washington, D.C., and I'm going to be somebody who's going to fight for you guys. I'll be back. Even if you don't agree with my votes, you will see me back around here. That's the one thing that I've enjoyed more than anything is meeting all these new people. From coast to coast in the district. It goes from Lockport all the way to Mendota, and they again, this is another one of those things that motivated me to run. Is I keep hearing from people that are moving to Texas and they're moving to Tennessee and Florida. I've been here for generations. My family has been here in this area for generations, and I'm going to fight for the laws here. While we're here, I'm not going to run away, and that's what the Democrats want us to do. And we saw it by this map. It's another one that they tried to gerrymander, and they're trying to cut out every single Republican. And I know there's a few people in this room that have been front and center working on that at the state level as well. This district in particular is one of them that I think that they maybe made a little bit of a miscalculation, and that's another reason why I wanted to jump into this. It's a blue collar district. It's not a liberal district, and we could win that, because one of the things that I also like to do is to build things. We did that in Kendall County with a new bridge, the first bridge that is, who's that? Who's that? Is that Tony? Got a few guys in here that had a hand in some of that, and, so we appreciate that. First bridge that we built in 20 years in Kendall County. It's only the second span in 100 years, second new span in over 100 years. And we're the fastest growing county in the state, so obviously we're doing something right out in Kendall. But so that's the other thing is infrastructure. We go back to Adam Smith's days, where there are kind of three principles of the federal government. One is your national security, one is domestic security, and the third is infrastructure. And to me, that's roads and bridges and things of that nature. This district, more than any, is roads and bridges and transportation hub. I was starting to talk about the way that they drew this district. It's intended to be a Democrat safe, quote unquote safe Democrat district. It's kind of a lean Dem. I've seen anywhere from what they call a D5 to a D9, somewhere in there. And in a presidential year, or in 2018, the Democrat would have walked away with this. There's no question. But in a year like this, I think we can win. And there's a few. And there's a lot of reasons. One is we have issues on our side. There's no question. As far as that goes, with inflation, out of control, with things like defund the police, everywhere I go, that's pissing people off. And you add that to the fact that 70% of this district is new to her. 30% of it includes areas like here and Kendall County. And I'm going to meet her in Kendall County, which is my home. So she's got a lot of ground to make up. Now she'll have $6 million or so to make up name recognition very quickly, but with her help, we're going to get that out there, and we're going to turn that tide. So I'm gonna stop there and just open it up and, I'm happy to answer a few questions, if you have any. So, thank you. Scott Gryder, and your vote on June 28th, or our early voting is May 19th is when early voting starts, so vote early. Election integrity is important, so I won't say vote often. So I know the gentleman in the back maybe had a question about qualified immunity.
My name is Greg Renard. I'm a Republican, retired police officer. And what's coming, we have to get the Republicans in. I was invited here by Chris Childress, and I got to meet Scott a few minutes ago, and he seems like the guy to be in our corner. What I'm talking about is this thing called qualified immunity for police officers. If that gets eliminated, and it will be eliminated if the Democrats get in, that means there's going to be a mass exodus of police officers from all the police departments in the state. Now, that doesn't mean that these guys are, the immunity doesn't mean they get to go do bad things and they don't get to be in trouble or arrested or get fired. Yeah, that, they need to be punished if there's a bad apple in the bush. But the immunity that I'm talking about is that when a police officer is sent to a call and he shows up, and he's got to make a decision on what to do with the crowd. And he makes a decision, and he doesn't violate any rights. But in that decision, he pisses off somebody. Or by not doing anything, he pisses off somebody. Those people now can sue that without qualified immunity. They can sue that police officer. That police officer has to get his own attorney. Okay. So, in the course of a year, a police officer that's working hard and doing things and trying to make the community safe could be sued a dozen times.
Take his house.
Huh?
They can take his house.
They take his house, they take his kids. Maybe not that far. But the thing is that what you're going to see, and I'm close with a lot of young officers, they're going to walk, and we're not going to have the police protection that we need. That is a shame. And now I talked to Scott, and he understands this dilemma, and he's totally for never having that happen. Is that correct?
That is 100% correct. I would never vote to get rid of qualified immunity, and I am an attorney, and we've talked about that in law school, many years ago. But we want to be safe in our homes and our communities, and I've talked at length with our sheriff about this. If there's a bad apple, you want them held accountable. But to take away the qualified immunity, that is going to have such a chilling effect on our safety here that it will never be the same again. And yeah. So one of the things that before I get out of here, I need help to win, to get over the edge. It's 55 days until the election. I need volunteers that'll help walk, that'll knock on doors. I've got a pretty good sign crew in case anybody's been driving around. Thanks for Russ. Where are you, buddy? Among others, but mostly Rusty's been everywhere. So thanks, bud. And we'll talk about that later. You got your sign though. Thank you. I need that. I need the financing. Thank you to everybody. I know a lot of you have written checks or made donations tonight. I need more. That's the bottom line. It's if I'm going to compete with $6 million in the fall, we're going to have to raise a whole lot of money. The federal levels, the limits are $2,900 for an individual, $58 for a couple, and $5,000 for a pack. So they're very, very strict on what you can give. So I appreciate all that you can do there. A meet and greet like this is helpful. I've had Sandy last weekend. Thank you. I had one in her home. She had a coffee for me at her home and invited not just friends but also neighbors and a lot of people that I haven't met before. So it was great. Thank you. Yeah. And friend of friend cards, different things like that. Anything I'm forgetting that we need help with right away. Coffees. And we're going to be doing walks every weekend, through the election as well. So if you got a good pair of shoes and you want to come out and knock on a few doors with me, let me know and let us know, and we'll be doing that too.
Social media.
Social media.
Yeah, follow you and
Yeah,
share,
come to the
like,
website,
comment.
scottgryder.com. A lot of my positions are spelled out further on that, so you can get a good idea. And if you got questions as they come up, my cell phone and my email are on my business card, so feel free to reach out anytime, and I'll get to you. I may not get it right away, but I will get to you with an answer. And so, with that, I appreciate everybody being out here tonight.
All right, thank you very much, Scott.
Scott Gryder.
I'm Chris Gryder. I'm with Fed People for Scott Gryder. And Scott has told me that he supports Fed People at this time. So that's really why I signed up for this. And yeah, well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. The word is true. I mean, the thing I would have to say most about Scott is he's approachable. He will return your phone call if you have a question. And that's really what I want, is representation. They're representatives for a reason. And I want to be represented. And I want my views to be brought forward. And I know Scott will do that. So with your help, and really thank you all for showing up. And please enjoy a mint-julep, enjoy some cocktails. The food is open. And one last thing, Mike is building this beautiful shelter out here. He's looking for some hands that can help hold down the rails so they can get it nailed down later on tonight. So, anyway, thank you all for showing up.